So today's session we are talking about the group by operations. It is mainly rely on the split, apply, combine, right? And see, when we have this data called gapminder, so we're gonna drag that data over here right now. Now go to this gapminder. It's over here, yeah. And we need to click on raw file to get it access to this data. And copy it and pasting over here. So first of all, we need to import this pandas as PD. I'm running it, and I'm taking that df is equals to pd dot read csv, and I'm saying this as it is a tsv data. We need to put a separated column that
backslash tst
tab separated values. So if I say the df of head, it's going to retrieve the very first 5 data. The thing is, if I ask you the question about, the thing is, when we're talking about the average life expectancy of a 1952 year, so what happened? So this, the average life expectancy of a 1952 year. So what we have done in the very first section in the pandas is we said that the df dot to the group by, right? And I'm saying that I wanted to segregate the data, which is the year wises. But first of all, I wanted to find out, the year wise data. I wanted to group it together first of all. So I'm saying that year over here, right? Then I say that the life expectancy here, the life expectancy. Then I'm trying to find the mean for each group data of an year. So 1952 year, we have so many other years. So it's going to retrieve for us the complete data. So what we have simply done in the sense, we have split the data, right? We have, if we can see this right now, we split the data. We split the data according to the year basis. We have 1952 here, right? And we have 1957. We have only the unique years right now. So we're trying to find out the average of each year in the life expectancy, right? So what we have done simply to explain this, we split the data according to the year. We applied some function. That means now we applied that mean function on the data. That is the reason we're going to get this average life expectancy over here, right? So later we're going to combine if you make any other operations together, right? So the group by functions, which will really help you in terms of reducing your work and give you a lot of enough information about your data. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if I can write simple points over here, say that the data is split, my bad, split into separate parts based on case, right? So something that we separated data according to the year right now here, isn't it so?
Yes, sir.
The next point we are going to say is a function. A function is applied to each part of the data, isn't it so? The later the results from each part are combined to create a new data set. Later you're going to apply some kind of functions on the data. Then later point of time you're going to combine those all together, all the data sets together to make a one single data. So these kind of things can be done by the group by functions, right? Good to go?
Yes,
So yes, so let's say, and coming to the point, so let me take an Excel if you want it. Say, then something that we are going to make an aggregations, transformations, filtering the data. So let's say, I'm going to say that the group by operations to aggregate, transform, and filter the data. You're mainly going to do this. Then you also can do that. Then we also do the customize, the built-in and custom user functions to perform group by operations. say the group operations to aggregate and transform the filtered the data. We also can use the customized functions. Then we're going to write some logic in it, yeah, to perform the group by operations. So this is a wonderful, very, very wonderful topic in terms of, to make it, to split the data into several parts and make some kind of operations on the splitted data. Then we're going to combine it later point of time. So what we can do in sense, a group by operations can aggregate the data, can transform the data, can filter the data also if you want it. Later we can actually use a customized functions to apply on the data itself also. Yeah. So how are we going to do? Normally, if I say the aggregate, what do you mean? What comes to your mind in sense? It is a process. If I say the aggregation, right? What is the meaning of aggregation in sense? It's the process of taking multiple values and returning a single value, isn't it so? Say I'm trying to find a mean. That means it is trying to take the multiple values of the life expectancy of the 1952 year and giving you one single value. Yeah. Say the aggregation, it is the process of taking multiple values and returning a single value. So it is taking multiple values of the 1952 year and performing some mean value. Now we are going to get single value, isn't it so? The calculating arithmetic mean is also an example, so that we have discussed just the previous line over here. This is the one. Yeah. So coming to the point that we have already seen this data. So how it is actually happening? How it is happening? How it is able to do this operations? So simple. If I can say, say, so how this group by function, which is able to do this kind of operations very easily for us. So if you can split the operations, you can understand very easily. Let's say if I wanted to retrieve only the unique years from this data frame, what should I do in sense? We have a method called nUnique. If you can observe, to get unique, right? Unique years in the data frame called here it is df. Say the years I'm taking as a variable, the df dot year dot and unique. Sorry, unique. Unique. Yeah, method. So which is going to retrieve purely the unique years, even though if it is appeared many times in the data, but it is going to take only the unique years from the data. 1952, 1957, we have 1962. These are all unique years, right? So we can go through each of the years and subset the data. No, we can go through each of the years and subset the data. So how it is happening, how it is this group by function which is making this kind of operands in a single line. We are actually splitting that same thing over here, in fact. So let's say I wanted to retrieve this 1952 data. How are we going to retrieve that data in sense? Say, let's say let's say year 1952, right, is equals to df dot mark. I'm saying it, and the df dot, because we need to have a substitute this way because we're going to get the Boolean values. So we can say that year is equals to 1952, right? And I need to have all the columns because when we use lock, it's not necessary to mention that way, but I'm putting a column there and column, comma there and column, then I'm going to get all the columns. So simply I'm running it and the year is underscore 1952 data. So we got all the data. We got all the data. So we got this much of data. So when you see that we have 142 rows of data that we have only in the 1952, you say this right now. Now if I can highlight this here, 1 second, this is completely 1952 data. Yeah. So if you can scroll up, so we have done the df.lock. That means it is looking for the names of this, the year of 1952 only. Then it is actually pulling that only that data. So if you can subset the 1957, 1962, you're going to get the same thing. So we got this. If I can say right now, I can say that this is a thing, and year underscore 1952 dot shape, sorry, 42, it's a 52 dot shape, right? I'm running reback. It's just about 142 rows of data. So I can say that here, the year underscore 1952 dot head. We just got this, right? Then if you can say here, year underscore 1952 dot main, what we got it here, why we are getting this way. The point is, because you're not calculating the mean of the specific column. It is trying to find the specific column things. So in order to get that way, you just need to do that. Say the year underscore 1952 dot life expectancy dot mean. So it's going to give you the number right now. So the 42, we got it here, the 42.057. So let us go back here to the data set. We got the same thing here, 49.05 things, the same number for here. So the group by function, which is also doing same thing here. So the group by statement especially repeat this process for every year column. So instead of writing these many logic, these many things of, these many lines of code, it is simply, if you use this group by function, it is going to do us do that operations for us in a single line itself, right? Rather than, if you wanted to write again for 1957, 1962, 1967 altogether, it's going to be increase your, length of the code as well. But we have a very flexibility function which is available from directly a data frame. It is a group by, which is going to group your year, right? It is going to grab only the unique years from the year first of all, and it's going to separate all the things together. Then it's trying to take only the life expectancy. Then it's trying to apply the mean function. So you're going to get the mean values, that is average values for each year, right? If you wanted to do the same operations individual, without using this group by function, you must have to do this way. So it is really reducing our work, isn't it so, guys? So if I can make a describe function, let's say, and we also have another one. So let's say the continent underscore describe here. If we can say the def dot group by, right? Say the continent, it's going to group on the basis of continent, not by the year at this time. So I'm taking that the life expectancy here right now, and the describe, instead of taking my function as a main, I'm taking right now as a describe function, right? Now I'm going to get, say, continent underscore describe this. Now look at this. The describe function, which is going to basically give you, the describe function is basically going to give you the statistics about your data. So if you take the continent Africa, the count for this is 624 only for the Africa. And if you can look at this mean and look at this standard deviation, the minimum value for this and the 25% of the value for this Africa, 50% and 75% maximum value is this, right? So the minimum value is this. Good to go, guys. So it is basically giving you very structured and very informative kind of data, without even struggling things. You need not to write the pure logic again for giving you this kind of information. It's simply giving you by a flexible methods that we have, like describe and group by, right? Otherwise, if you do not have a group by, then you have to write a lot of code to get generated this way, this kind of information. Yeah. So it's basically talking about this, when you combine using group by function, this continent, according to the continent wise, what is the life expectancy for every continent wise? You can look at this. So what is the continent, what is the count for the life expectancy for the Africa is this much? What is the mean for that? What is the standard deviation for that? What is the minimum? and what is the maximum. And these are all 25% of the data, and 50% and 75% of the mean. You can actually take it off. So the continent Americas is around 300 count. If you can add all of these, you're definitely going to get this, what is this, df dot shape, this value. Definitely, right? So we can actually do this kind of operations in a different ways. So you're gonna see those kind of different ways as well now. So how are we gonna do that? See, you can also use the aggregation function. That means we are actually using it, describing or a mean or whatever it's out. We can also use an aggregation function that is not listed in the pandas method. So something that we can actually use AGG, something that this AGG or aggregate method. In fact, these also will help us to do the same kind of work. And now you're going to see the alternative ways doing the same kind of work actually. So let's say I'm going to import this numpy as an MP, right? Then what I'm going to do, so let's say the calculate the average of life expectancy by continent, let's say, right? And to use this, but we are actually going to use np dot mean function rather than using a pandas and mean function, right? So let's say how are we going to do that? So the continent main is equals to the df dot group by function. So we need to group by the continent accordingly, right? And dot life expectancy, that we want to get the life expectancy column based on the continent. Then I'm using an aggregate function over here. That it's, I mean to say it's a method, of course. So you're going to pass np.main. So you're going to get the same thing over here. So let's say the continent underscore main, same thing. So simply you're actually grouping together this continent wise, and I'm going to grab this life expectancy according to the continent wise. I'm going to use this, aggregate method, and I'm passing the function as np.main. So it is simply doing the same thing. If you can just come across this, say the mean for the Africa is 48.86. Same thing. The Americas is 64.658. Let's say this is a thing. You can look at this Oceania, 74.32, and you can there say the 74.32. So it's happening the same way. But we can also use, instead of aggregate method, AGG, you can also use this way. Say, I'm going to copy this and pasting over here. And I'm saying that instead of AGG, we can actually use the aggregate as well, expanded way. And I'm running this in the continent, the main, it's going to come with. Same thing. Yes, guys? Understanding?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we have used the NP numpy mean function. We have used the mean function from pandas. We can also write our own functions as well. This is something like a customized functions. Sorry, customized functions. So we're going to create a customized function. You can also pass this customized function to this aggregate method. It is also works in a very same way. So let's say if I want to create a function called my mean, right? And my mean, and I'm passing this a values over there, right? And I'm going to create a function. So see, it is my own version of calculating a mean. Something we are going to get the same values maybe, but I'm saying that I'm defining my own function right now rather than using just np mean function, that is numpy mean function, or a pandas mean function. I'm going to write my own function right now. I'm going to pass this function to the aggregate method. So it works in a very same way, right? So how do we do that in sense, I'm taking an n is equals to length of this values. So we're going to get the length what is the length of that values. So simple, I'm saying that sum is equals to initially 0, right? And I'm saying that for values in, for each in, let's say, values, right? Then I'm saying that sum plus equals to value. That means sum is equals to, you can even write this way, that sum is equal to sum plus value. So this is something like it's going to keep on adding, as long as the value is there in the when you're sending the column, then as long as the value is there, it's going to loop for those many times. So it's simply trying to add it them, initially taking sum as a variable or 0 here, right? So what do you have to return here in sense? Sum return of sum by n. That means you're trying to take an average, right? This is my mean. It is working in a very similar way, those things as well. But I'm actually writing my own function. Later, I'm going to pass this my own function, that is my mean, that I have declared, instead of passing as an np.mean, numpy mean, or pandas mean, right? So I'm running this cell, and I'm taking that here, say, the df dot group by an year basis, right? Now, say the life expectancy dot agg, you can take agg or aggregate as an expanded one, right? I'm passing my mean, say my mean right now. Now look at this. Hold on a second. All right, so there is some error here. The problem is that we have mentioned here as a value, but it's not a value, right? It's an each. Every time the for each is going to point every each value that is actually passing the year. So we're going to add up them all together, right? The life expectancies for each year, right? So basically the group by functions, again, it's going to group according to the year wise. Then we're trying to look for the life expectancy. Then you're transferring those life expectancy to the mean, my mean, right? Using aggregate method, right? Those values gets summed together, and we're going to get the sum by n, that is we're going to get the mean. So I need to run this cell because I made a changes to this cell, right? Then we're going to run this cell as well. Then we're going to get this. We know that 1952 year, the average life expectancy is S, right? If you can go back and look at, say the same thing, right? So let us come back down, right? And look at this right now. If you wanted to get the difference between, let's say, if you wanted to get the difference between if you wanted to get the difference between this the global life expectancy, right? The global life expectancy and the difference value for this mean. So how do you write the functions according to the same? So we'll calculate the global average life expectancy, and we'll subtract this mean from it. So how do we write the function for that? So let me write the question here for the clarification. So we will calculate the global. So instead of finding the year-wise life expectancy average mean, I'm going to find the global average expectancy from the complete data life expectancy. I'm not worried about which area and which continent, which year. I'm not worried about that. I'm trying to find the average life expectancy for the complete data rather than segregating the 1952 and finding the average for that. So finding complete data average life expectancy. So simple, we can actually say. So the question is here, the average life expectancy, right? So we will calculate the average, global average life expectancy, right? Then find the difference, between in the mean and this, it's a mean, and there's difference value. The difference value is just about this global average, let's say. So let's say, how do we do this? So defining my function as, my mean, the difference, let's say, I'm taking that here, the values, and I'm going to take this. So before we try to create a function. Let us create a, first of all, let us find first of all the global average life expectancy. So let's say the global main is equals to the df dot life expectancy, right? I'm not taking this Groupby function because we know not to separate anything. We just need to find the life expectancy of this data frame, of this data frame of life expectancy. So the main directly. So if I can take this, the global main, say it's going to give you the 59 point test. So I'm not finding the life expectancy for 1952. I'm finding the global life expectancy average, right? So make sure that. So I'm going to define a function right now for to satisfy this question. Okay. So I'm saying that the def my main the difference. Okay. And I'm saying that values comma the difference value, and I'm taking two things over here. So basically I'm trying to find out what in sense the difference between the mean and the difference values. So this is not difference values, you can take any other thing if you want it, rather taking this thing. Yeah. So basically to satisfy this, we need to take the length of this values first of all. Then we can say that sum is equals to 0, right? Then I'm saying that for each in values, right? We have the values, right? Then I'm saying that the sum is equals to sum plus each, right, guys? Then saying that here, I'm taking the main is equals to sum by n. So we're going to get the mean for this particular the column that you're going to get it, right? Then you're finding the difference between this and this. So what is you have to do is the region, the mean minus the difference value. So let me take it down this difference value. So we run this program. Then let's say right now, so aggregate mean difference is the df dot group by right now, right? The group by dot, it's a group by to year basis, and life expectancy on the year wise right now, and say the aggregate method I'm using it. Then I'm saying that here my mean difference, right? Then I'm actually passing this difference value is this the global mean that we have already calculated. So what I need to say that here the difference, so we can even say that this difference underscore value is equals to global underscore main. We're simply forwarding this. Let me run this, and I'm gonna find this right now. Say aggregate main difference. The difference between my mean right now. Who is this? My mean. You're transferring, yeah, because on the year wise you're transferring it, right? The year wise 1952 life expectancy transferring to the my mean data. So the difference is global mean. So basically, you're trying to find this 49.05 minus the global mean. So how much? So we are doing same thing, right? We'll calculate the global average for average life expectancy. The global average for the average life expectancy. Yeah. And the difference between the mean and global average. So what is the difference between this to the total global average expectancy is this. So we're going to get the minus 10 because 49 minus 59 is minus 10, right? So we're going to get minus 10.00. Now the rest of the numbers, right? In the 1957, now only the minus 7. So if you can see, there is only the 0.1977. If you can look at that, so to the global mean, it is almost equals to 1977, right? So you can look at this, we have the positive values as well. Yes, guys. So let me repeat for your reference again, if you wanted to. So we're trying to find the difference between the mean and the global mean. Simple as that. So we found that, the global mean, instead of finding the year wise, I'm trying to find the global life expectancy average is this. So this is the data that we actually segregated. According to the 1952, what is the average life expectancy is this. So you're trying to find the difference between the 1952 year average life expectancy minus you're trying to find the difference between this mean and the global mean. So you're going to get the numbers as such this way, right? All right then. You can even point, you can even pass multiple functions to the aggregate method. How do we do that? Let's say I'm going to copy this right away and I'm pasting over here, right? And see, instead of passing my own things here, so let me pass the different things. Say if I want to have the more than one, that means to calculate the count mean the standard deviation of the life expectancy by continent. So how do we do? How do we do? Yes. So let's say right now. Say this right now. I'm going to pass np. So because I'm going to pass more than one function, we have to, give the argument as in the form of list rather than giving in the different way. Yeah. So the count underscore non-zero, right? np dot mean, and I'm trying to find the mean for that, and I'm trying to find the non-zero. That means now it's not null, right? Because when you use the count non-zero method in conjunction with the is null, it is going to tell you what are the null values exist in your data. So you're going to use this. You're going to get the information about this as well. Then I'm going to say the np dot standard deviation. So std, right? So let's say this right now. The count non-zero, the main, and this, right? In 1952, this we have every each year. You can look at this right now. The every each year it is divided to the data which is we having 142, 142, 142. You just calculate this, so you're going to get the same, right? So the mean for this is 1952 is this, standard deviation is this, 1957 is this one. So forget about this standard deviation. We have so much scenario about that for the sessions, right, guys? Right. So basically, you're trying to pass an argument as a function itself to the argument as an argument to the AGG method, right? So if it is more than one, you have to pass it in the format of list. If it is just a one, you need not to pass it in the form of list. That's what I'm saying it, right? Good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah. We can also very specifically want to find out things using this group by function as well, right? How do we do that? See, I'm going to take the same thing over here and I'm going to delete this, right? We don't want this, right? See, I wanted to have, according to the 1952, the life expectancy, we're going to find out the mean all the time, yeah? Let's say I want to find out the mean for the life expectancy, yes? But I do not want it to I wanted to find out the median for the pop. I wanted to find out the median for the GDP per cap. So how do we do that? So let's say when I say that thing, I want to group my years, but not especially this life expectancy, because I'm not looking at only the life expectancy, right? That is the reason I just deleted that right now. But I'm saying that here, see, in the form of dictionary, I'm saying that I want this life expectancy, right? I want the mean for this life expectancy. So we need to provide in the form of a string, otherwise it's going to give you an error. So I want this pop. You have a pop column there, right? I want this pop in the median, right? So median, okay? And I want this GDP per cap, right? And Sorry, my bad. So this is a key value page like that because we are going to pass it in the form of dictionary. So I want the GDP per cap is median, let's say. Good to go, guys. So basically, this is going to retrieve the mean for the life expectancy, the median for the pop, and the sorry. So let's take this as median only. Let's say the median for the pop and median for the GDP per cap. If you want the standard deviation, you can actually mention that as well. It's not an issue. So it's basically finding 1952 year life expectancy mean is this. The median for the pop is this. Median for the GDP per cap is this. Right? Good to go. So
Yes.
it can even pass in the form of dictionary, and you know that when we're talking about the dictionary, we have a key value page, so we have to pass it in this way. So simply, I'm making that. See, whenever it's find the mean, it's trying to find the mean for the life expectancy, the median for the pop, median for the GDP per cap. So we have a very flexibility, and we need not to write a very complex kind of logic for every time, right? So it's going to give you very easy kind of methodologies. Yeah, you just need to put a lot of experimental practice, otherwise you're not going to be good in this thing, right? Right, guys. So and we have